This is a patch 11.0.5 guide for Enhancement Shaman. It is going to be really beginner friendly. That is actually what I specialize in. If you are new to this channel, hello, I'm Javier. So I also go with no waffle. So let's get into it then. Stormbringer is the hero talent we are going to be going for in both Mythic Plus and Raiding in this build. Looking very quickly at the stats, we are actually not going with Intellect. If you're used to Elemental or Restoration, you'll be using Intellect. We actually want Agility as an Enhancement Shaman because we're actually a melee Shaman, whereas Elemental and Resto are ranged. So Agility is now our primary stat. Looking at the secondary stats, we've got Critical Strike and Haste. They're pretty self-explanatory. Mastery, however, this is an interesting one. Increases our chance to trigger Stormbringer and Wind Fury weapon, and increases all fire, frost, and nature damage we deal. So, Stormbringer and Wind Fury weapon, what are those? Well, this is actually things we're going to have on our weapon basically by default. Like you can see Wind Fury weapon here. Imbue your main hand weapon with the element of wind for an hour. Each main hand attack has a chance to trigger 3 extra attacks. It also causes successive Wind Fury attacks within 15 seconds to increase the damage of Wind Fury. So we can put that on our main hand weapon just every hour. We also have Flame Tongue weapon that we put on our offhand weapon. Another thing that our mastery is going to do is Storm Surge here. Your special attacks have a chance to reset the remaining cooldown on Storm Strike and cause your next Storm Strike to deal more damage. And that's one of the main abilities we'll be using. And we do use Dual Wield. So we're going to be starting off with the single target raiding build. Let's put on our action bars, player bars. There we go. These are the ones we're using for this tutorial. The way this is going to work is the left-hand side is your top priority. And the bit down here, so go all the way right and then to the bottom, is our lowest priority. We do have something called Maelstrom Weapon, which is another resource we will be generating and using as an Enhancement Shaman as well. And the main way I track my buffs is using this weak aura in the center, which is the Luxfos Shaman weak aura. The rest of the UI here is all made by me, and you can get that on my Patreon. So let's go into combat and see what we're doing first. Number 1, we want to cast Primordial Wave on cooldown. Blast your target with a Primordial Wave, dealing damage and applying Flame Shock to them. Flame Shock that is applied is actually this spell here. It is basically a dot, which is a damage over time spell, otherwise known as dots, damage over time spells. You can actually apply Flame Shock to a maximum of 6 different targets if you want. It basically causes fire damage or volcanic damage and then an additional amount over 18 seconds. And Primordial Wave will actually automatically put on Flame Shock to your target. Your next lightning bolt after using Primordial Wave will also hit all targets affected by Flame Shock for nearly double, well, it's actually nearly triple, sort of. It's 175% of normal damage, so nearly double the amount of damage. Meaning, if I also have Flame Shock on this target, and I have Flame Shock on this target, when I use my lightning bolt, it's also going to be damaging them. So, use Primordial Wave on cooldown. Next up is Feral Spirits. As you can see, it's a cooldown that actually summons Feral Spirits, basically to do damage for you. They both grant you 20% increased fire, frost, and nature damage. Feral Spirit generates 1 stack of Maelstrom Weapon immediately and 1 stack every 3 seconds. And you can see here, just behind this... let me get rid of this. You can see here we have right now 2 Maelstrom Weapon. And now we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We've now got 10 Maelstrom Weapon. So we will be passively generating Maelstrom Weapon, and some other abilities, like I just explained with Feral Spirit, will also generate Maelstrom Weapon. The next one you're going to see on here is Lightning Bolt. However, I don't want you to actually use Lightning Bolt at this point, which may sound strange. Sometimes your Lightning Bolt will actually turn into this here. Tempest. I want you to use Tempest here whenever it is available, so as your third priority. So use Primordial Wave on cooldown and Feral Spirits on cooldown, and then use Tempest whenever you can, but only if you have 8 or more Maelstrom Weapon. And you can see here we have 10 Maelstrom Weapon. So we're going to go ahead and use our Tempest. After that, we want to use Ascendance. This is another cooldown. Transform into an Air Ascendant, dealing nature damage to an enemy, reducing the cooldown on your Storm Strike ability, and transforming your auto attack and Storm Strike into wind attacks, which bypass armor and have a 30-yard range. While this cooldown is active, we generate 2 Maelstrom weapon stacks every 1 second. Okay, so we're going to use that on cooldown. After that, we're going to use Doom Winds on cooldown. This is again on a minute cooldown. Unleash a devastating storm around yourself, dealing damage every 1 second. Increases your chance to activate Wind Fury weapon and the damage of Wind Fury weapon. If you've forgotten what that is the enchantment we've put on our weapon that I showed you at the start of this video. After that, we're then going to use Elemental Blast. Generally at this point, again, only if we've got 8 stacks or more of Maelstrom weapon stacks. So let's just recap. We use Primordial Wave on cooldown, Feral Spirit on cooldown. If we have more than 8 stacks of Maelstrom weapon and we can use Tempest, then use it. Use Ascendance on cooldown, use Doom Winds on cooldown. Then, if we can't use Tempest, we've just got a basic Lightning Bolt here. If we can't use Tempest, but we do have 8 or more stacks of Maelstrom weapon, like we now do, we're going to use Elemental Blast. Harness the raw power of elements, dealing elemental damage, increasing our crit and haste and mastery. Well, it's one or the other. You may have heard of a spell called Lava Burst. This is actually replaced by Elemental Blast, by the way, so just be aware of that, so that if you ever hear anyone talking about it and you think, well, I don't have that, this is why. Then we have Storm Strike as our next priority. Use this if you're at 2 charges, like you can see we are here. Basically, we don't really want to overcap our charges, so if you're at 2 charges, use them here. Energizes both your weapons with lightning and delivers a blow to your target, and has a chance to generate a stack of Maelstrom weapon. Now, after that, we're going to wait again for another proc. So we've spoken about Flame Shock, right? We know that it gets automatically put on by our Primordial Wave. Now, we're only going to use Flame Shock at this point in the rotation if it's turned into something else called Voltaic Blaze. That is from this talent here. Tempest and Lightning Bolt have a chance to make your next Flame Shock become Voltaic Blaze. Instantly shocks the target and 5 nearby enemies with blazing thunder, causing nature damage and applying Flame Shock, and generates 1 stack of Maelstrom weapon. So sometimes when we're using our Lightning Bolt, what you will see is that you do actually get, there we go, Voltaic Blaze instead of Flame Shock. So at this point in the rotation, we're only using Flame Shock if it's a Voltaic Blaze here. After this point, we're basically getting to our filler spells. We're going to use Ice Strike, any remaining stacks of Storm Strike, because remember, we're only using it here at 2 stacks. Then we're going to use our Frost Shock, and again, this is only if something specific is happening. And that is this talent here, Hailstorm. Each stack of Maelstrom weapon consumed, so whenever we use Elemental Blast here to actually consume the Maelstrom weapon stacks, or Lightning Bolt, that will also consume it when using Tempest, etc., will increase the damage of your next Frost Shock by 15% and cause your next Frost Shock to hit an additional target per Maelstrom weapon stack consumed. Consuming at least 2 stacks of this generates 1 stack of Maelstrom weapon. The best way I would say to track this is by using a weak aura, like I have here. I know I've got these annoying action bars in the way, but can you see it's just behind here? So then you know that you've got it. So we're only going to use Frost Shock if we have those stacks. Then we're going to use Lightning Bolt. So remember, we're only using Lightning Bolt here if it's turned into Tempest. Then we're using Elemental Blast if we have 8 or more stacks of Maelstrom weapon. And then we're going to use Lightning Bolt here if we have 5 or more Maelstrom weapon stacks. So basically, if we haven't got Tempest available and we have used Elemental Blast, or it's on, it's on cooldown, or we only have 5 stacks available and we've gotten all this, we've gotten this far down in the priority list, then we use Lightning Bolt if it's got 5 or more weapons, Maelstrom weapon stacks. Okay? Lastly, put up Flame Shock Not as anything else, Voltaic Blaze, etc. Just put up Flame Shock if it is not available, if it is not active on your target. Remember, we will apply it with Primordial Wave. We may be reapplying it if we get a Voltaic Blaze proc. If none of those things have happened and it's fallen off, then use it here to reapply it on your target. Lastly, if you've got nothing else to press Lava Lash. I am very aware that Enhancement Shaman is not the simplest rotation to learn, so let's go through it one more time, full circle. 1. Use Primordial Wave on cooldown. Use Feral Spirit on cooldown. Use Tempest at 8 or more Maelstrom stacks if you have Tempest. Okay, we haven't. Move on and use Ascendance. Use Doom Winds. Use Elemental Blast if you have 8 or more stacks of Maelstrom Weapon. Then we're going to use our Wind Strike, which is, by the way, I didn't mention this. Wind Strike is when you're in Ascendance form. When you're out of Ascendance form, that's when it would just be known as Storm Strike. Use it if you have 2 stacks here. So again, we'd go back up. Yep, we can use Primordial Wave now. We've got Tempest and more than 8 stacks. Cool. We haven't got more than 8 stacks, so we're not going to use Elemental Blast. We have got 2 stacks available as Storm Strike, so we use it there. We haven't got Voltaic Blaze, so we're not using that. Let's use Ice Strike. Oh, we've got 10 stacks now, so that's more than 8. Oh, look, we can use our Feral Spirit. We can now use our Elemental Blast. We can now use our Storm Strike. You're starting to see how it comes together. We're not going to use it because we haven't got Voltaic Blaze. We can use our Ice Strike. We can use any remaining stacks of Storm Strike here. Have we got Hailstorm? Yes, we have. Let's use our Frost Shock. We've got 5 or more stacks. Let's use Lightning Bolt. Is Flame Shock up on the target? No, it's not. I mean, at this point, you'd be going back up to use Primordial Wave, but I'm just trying to show you how it would work. So we can use this. And then we've got nothing else to press. We use Lava Lash. Let's go through it one more time. At this point, we would be like, right, Primordial Wave. Tempest of 8 or more stacks. Yes. Doom Winds. Yes. Tempest with 8 or more stacks? No. 8 or more stacks? No. 2 stacks of Storm Strike? Yes. Voltaic Blaze? No. Oh, and now we can. Tempest. Okay, still 10 stacks. Elemental Blast. 2 stacks of Storm Strike. Use it. Voltaic Blaze? No. Ice Strike? Yes. Remaining stacks of Storm Strike? Yes. Feral Spirits? Yes. Hailstorm? Yes. Again, Elemental Blast? Yes. 2 stacks of Storm Strike? Yes. I'm going through this a bit shoddily and slowly because I'm trying to narrate it as I'm doing it and do it as a tutorial. You'd obviously be doing it faster, but you'd be using your keybinds probably. You know, 5 or more stacks, Lightning Bolt, etc., etc. And that is how you put together the rotation. Hopefully that kind of shows it a bit better. Now, before we move on to what we're going to change for the Mythic Plus or AoE rotation, let's just look at some of the important talents. We have improved Maelstrom Weapon. I feel like it's important to tell you about this. Maelstrom Weapon now increases the damage of spells it affects by 20% per stack. There's this one which is kind of interesting, Elemental Weapon. Each active weapon imbue increases all fire, frost, and nature damage dealt by 5%. And remember, we are enchanting Flame Tongue on our main hand and Wind Fury on our offhand, so that's 10% there. We have the Witch Doctor's Ancestry here. Increases the chance to gain a Maelstrom Weapon by 4%. And whenever you gain a stack of Maelstrom Weapon, the cooldown of Feral Spirits is reduced by a second. And your Feral Spirit's now imbued with Fire, Frost, or Lightning. That's why you'll see different ones coming out. And then increasing the damage dealt by 20% of the element that they summon with, which is really cool, actually. Sometimes you'll see that you won't spend Maelstrom Weapon stacks. That's because of the Static Accumulation talent. 20% chance to refund Maelstrom Weapon stacks spent on Lightning Bolt, Tempest, or Chain Lightning. While Ascendance is active, you generate 2 Maelstrom Weapon stacks every 1 second, and we have Forum's Invocation, increasing damage of Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning, reducing the cooldown of Ascendance. While Ascendance is active, Wind Strike automatically consumes up to 5 Maelstrom Weapon stacks to discharge a Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning whenever you use it. Now we're going to go through just quickly on the hero talents. And by the way, can I just say, if you haven't already and you are enjoying this rotation guide, please do consider subscribing. It really helps me out. Leaving a like on this video. And I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. I love reading them and seeing, you know, if you're trying out a new spec, if you're coming back to WoW and things like that. So we've obviously got our Tempest, which we know about. Every 40 Maelstrom Weapon stacks, we then get Lightning Bolt turning into Tempest. Spending Maelstrom Weapon stacks grants you more haste, and that can stack, so that's really nice. Tempest also increases your movement speed by 20% by 5 seconds. That's really interesting to know. Tempest also summons a nature feral spirit for 15 seconds. So you will passively, well, actively when you use Tempest, but passively in the terms that you won't be actively summoning the feral spirit, will happen then. If you feel like, hang on a minute, where's that come from? That's where he's come from. Tempest will also cause your next chain lightning or lightning bolt, in this case in single target lightning bolt, to be instant cast and deal more damage and cast twice. So after you use Tempest, your next lightning bolt will be super duper whooper. Lightning bolt, Tempest and chain lightning have a chance to refund Maelstrom weapon stacks. Their damage is increased. And then we have this one here, Awakening Storms. Storm Strike, Lightning Bolt, and Chain Lightning have a chance to strike your target for nature damage, and every 3 times it happens, your next Lightning Bolt is replaced by a Tempest. So you will get more Tempests, not just when you spend 40 Maelstrom, but also from the Awakening Storms talent as well. Let's now go into the Mythic Plus rotation. So as you can see, a few talents are changing over here, but really not that many. One thing you're going to notice, you get the Feral Spirit cooldown talent, but then we're actually using Flowing Spirits rather than Witch Doctor's Ancestry. Flowing Spirits replaces Feral Spirit. Your damaging abilities now have a chance to summon a Feral Spirit for 8 seconds. So it's now actually passive in Mythic Plus. And that just kind of helps the flow of the rotation, because in Mythic Plus it is a bit more fluid with, you know, different mobs and stuff. So it's kind of, it just works out better than having it on a cooldown every 1.5 minutes. So you can see here the rotation is a bit different, but don't be overwhelmed. In my opinion, it's actually simpler. And if you already understand the single target rotation, you're going to have no issue understanding the AoE rotation. So, same again. We are going to be going in and using Primordial Wave on cooldown. Basically, this next point is actually using Flame Shock. Cast it if you have none active. And this includes all of your nearby mobs. So we've got Flame Shock on here from our Primordial Wave. If you've got another mob, cast it on them as well. Make sure you're spreading it around. Then we have Lava Lash. And this actually kind of goes hand in hand with what I just said. Charges your offhand weapon with lava and burns your target. Damage is increased by 100% if your offhand weapon is imbued with Flame Tongue weapon. Lava Lash will spread Flame Shock from your target to 4 nearby targets. So use Primordial Wave that puts on Flame Shock. Put Flame Shock on your target or any other targets if it is not already. But you can use Lava Lash to spread it to up to nearby 4 targets. So I could sort of switch these the other way around, but at the same time, the real reason we're putting it here is basically if it is not on your current target or any other targets, put it on. If there's only, you know, up to 4 other targets, then just spread it with Lava Lash. Hopefully that makes logical sense in what I'm saying. Same again, use Tempest when it's available and at 8+ Maelstrom stacks. Use Ascendance on cooldown. Again, same there. Use Doom Winds, absolutely the same. Now, I've put Crash Lightning underneath Doom Winds here. The reason being, you want to use Crash Lightning during Doom Winds, or if the buff for it is not active. This is a new ability we get in the AoE rotation. Electrocutes all enemies in front of you. Let's actually show you. Dealing nature damage and hitting 2 or more targets enhances your weapons, causing Storm Strike, Ice Strike, and Lava Lash to also deal nature damage to targets in front of you. So you want to keep that buff up as much as possible, but you can also use it within Doom Winds or if that buff isn't active. Then we're going to be using Chain Lightning with 8 or more weapon stacks of Maelstrom weapon. So use it again with Tempest here. We were using Elemental Blast in the single target rotation, but in AoE, we're using it here the same as before with 8 or more stacks with Tempest. But now we're going to use it with 8 or more stacks with Chain Lightning instead, okay? If your Primordial Wave is about to expire, then we can use Lightning Bolt. Otherwise, it's just going to be Chain Lightning on how we're spending them with, again, 8 or more stacks. After that, we're going to use our Storm Strike just like before, Voltaic Blaze just like before, Rather than lightning bolt with 5 or more maelstrom weapon, it's now chain lightning with 5 or more. And then lastly, we're going to use Sundering on cooldown. And again, if you've got nothing else left to press, it's Lava Lash again. Sundering is also new. Shatters a line of earth in front of you with your main hand weapon, causing flame strike damage to any enemy in front of you. Again, let's go through that rotation. Primordial Wave on cooldown. Flame Shock if it's not already up. You can spread your Flame Shocks with Lava Lash. Tempest with 8 or more Maelstrom weapon stacks. Ascendance, Doom Winds. Keep up Crash Lightning as much as possible. Chain Lightning to spend your Maelstrom weapon stacks if you're at 8 or above. Wind Strike or Storm Strike, depending on what you've got. Of course, it's going to be Wind Strike when you are in Ascendance form. Then it's going to be Voltaic Blaze if available. Then it's going to be Chain Lightning if you've got 5 or more weapon stacks. Sundering on cooldown, but as a low priority, obviously. And if you've got nothing else to press, it's Lava Lash. And that is the rotation for Mythic Plus and AoE. Before we wrap this up, I just want to talk to you about a few more things. Cooldowns, other cooldowns like defensives and also kind of utilities. We've got Ancestral Guidance. For the next 10 seconds, some of your healing done and damage done is converted to healing on nearby party and raid members. This means that we can automatically turn, passively, damage into healing for others, helping out our healers every 2 minutes. We've got Bloodlust, of course, the biggest cooldown in the game, massively increasing haste for all of our party and raid members. This is used generally when your raid leader or group leader tells you. Cleanse Spirit can actually help out our healers as well, removing all curse effects. Earth Elemental, it just calls a big, great Earth Elemental to help you, but the main reason we use it is your maximum health is increased when it's out. Now we're talking about shields, and this is interesting. We have Earth Shield and Lightning Shield. Earth Shield protects the target with an Earthen Shield, increasing your healing on them. Earth Shield can only be placed on the Shaman and one other target at a time, and you can have up to 2 shields available. So if you like, you can put this on somebody else and yourself. And you can have that up at all times to help out. You can also put Lightning Shield on yourself. There is a hero talent that also means if you have Lightning Shield active on yourself, you actually have, I think it's 3% reduced damage taken. Let me just fact check myself. Yes, Lightning Shield reduces the damage you take by 3%. And this basically is like a Fawn's effect on yourself. So have Lightning Shield and Earth Shield up on yourself at all times. In Mythic Plus, Earthbind is really good. It slows your enemies. It's a totem. Ghost Wolf you can use out or in combat to speed yourself up. Really amazing spell that is. Flame Tongue weapon we've spoken about. You can hex and incapacitate your targets for up to a minute using hex. You may have different variants like I do that you pick up from rare kind of places in the world. Sky Fury. So we used to have something back in vanilla called Wind Fury Totem. Is it Wind Fury? Wind Fury Totem. And it basically gave our allies a chance to actually have an additional auto attack. And we've actually gotten it back now with the addition of some extra mastery for our allies with the Sky Fury buff. Put this on before you go into combat. We've also got Wind Shear on a 12-second cooldown. This is, if you were a beginner to WoW, Wind Shear is so important, okay? This will interrupt your enemy's spell casting. So let's say I'm casting a Chain Lightning. Oh, I've been interrupted like that. It will literally interrupt their spell casting, which you think, okay, cool. But this is so important. Like, this is majorly important, and it is the one biggest mistake that beginners make, not interrupting. Even at a high level, I see people all the time not interrupting spell casting. It's on a 12-second cooldown. You should be using it literally whenever you can, especially Mythic Plus, and your group will love you. Well, if you don't use it, they'll hate you. Put it like that. A Windrush Totem on a 1.4 minute cooldown is a great way of speeding up you and your allies as well. Anyone who passes through it will be sped up. And that is everything, guys. So I just want to reiterate again, if you need any extra help, or you'd like my wonderful UI that I've created. No, that sounded really arrogant. I'm just joking. But if you would like the UI I've created with the details profiles, voodoo, everything you see here, you can get that on my Patreon. This little weak aura in the middle is made by Luxfos. So that little bit I'm circling isn't actually mine. You can get that on Luxfos's website. He does it for all classes. It's amazing. The rest of everything you see here is personally made, bespoke by me. I can also help you review your logs if you would wish so in Discord. We have a VIP channel for Patreons. There's macros and things like that as well on Patreon. There's a lot of extra content on there that you can get that may be really helpful to you. Otherwise, please do subscribe, leave a thumbs up, and again, let me know your comments down below. And if you're looking for other specs, maybe you're new here, you may not know me, I do every single spec in the game, every single season. And in fact, I've actually been doing it nearly a year in about 1 week's time. Isn't that crazy? Since season 3, I think, of Dragonflight it was, November 18th, 2023. Wow. Anyway, yes, so do check out the other specs you now see on screen.